purse strings. All of March, we're talking about different types of investments, and annuities is one of them. So we're going to have Sandy here talk all about annuities and what they are and how to use them. For those of you who are new here, Purse Strings is all about providing tips, tricks, just some financial, education. And then when you're ready to go, buy a house, plan for retirement, start investing, all these different things, we have top tier financial professionals willing, ready, and able to serve you. We call those our Purse Strings approved professionals, and Sandy is one of them. So we're so excited to have her on today. Sandy, before we dive into all the fun, could you give us a little intro of who you are and what you do?
Sure, absolutely. I'm a financial advisor and have been one, oh my goodness, I think ever since I graduated from college. And I tend to work with women who are pre-retirement age, and I work on making sure that they enjoy a secure, stable retirement. So I work with annuities a lot, so I really appreciate you inviting me on to talk about them.
Yeah, I'm excited for this conversation because annuities, it's like one of those words that we hear, and I think people either just glaze over or tune out. So stick with us here. I know they're going to be more exciting than they sound. But if anyone has any questions along the way, feel free to throw them in the chat, and we're also happy to answer those. So let's just dive in and start with what are annuities?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it. You're right. I can't think of another word in the financial services industry that evokes such emotion as annuity. People either love them or they hate them. There's really nobody who's neutral. But
Right.
It's interesting because the word annuity, Maggie, just means stream of payments, which is kind of an innocuous concept. So it's like, how can people be so emotional about them? But I think a good way to explain annuities is to just look at them as very similar to Social Security or a pension. Money goes into the system, it's invested for a number of years, and then money comes out of the system in a series of monthly payments that are guaranteed to last for the rest of the recipient's lifetime, no matter how long they live or how much money they actually spend. So I think it is a fairly simple concept. So
yeah, interesting.
Yeah, a lot of different kinds of annuities, and obviously we don't have time to talk about them all today. But I think I would like to focus on the variable annuity and how I use it in my practice of working with people to plan their retirement income stream.
Awesome. So the variable annuity is what you're going to be talking about.
Right.
Awesome. And so, yeah, how does this variable one kind of work?
Sure. First of all, when I sit down to work with a new client, the first thing we need to find out is what kind of Social Security benefit are they going to receive,
right.
Whether they retire at 62 or work until full retirement age or age 70. That's kind of our starting point. Now, let's face it, Social Security is not going to support most of us in retirement. So what we're going to need to find is another income vehicle that will give us enough retirement income to support our lifestyle. So what I usually do is I'll take a lump sum of money, and this could be coming out of a 401k or an IRA, or even an inheritance for that matter. Put it into a variable annuity and allocate the money to a variety of mutual fund-like sub-accounts that are invested in stocks and bonds and cash and alternative investments. Now, the perfect time, I would say, to buy a variable annuity is 5 to 10 years before you're going to retire, because we really want this thing to grow as big as it possibly can before we start tapping it for income. So what we do is we put a rider on the annuity that establishes a withdrawal base and a guarantee that the withdrawal base will step up and lock in any gains that occur in the annuity when the account value goes up. So in a year when the market is up 10 or 20%, your annuity could actually step up 10 or 20 times. And the withdrawal base can only go up, it can't go down. So your gains are locked in. So I think you can see that these step ups are one of the big benefits of a variable annuity.
Yeah. And so can you explain a little bit, what the term rider means, or how what that is?
Yeah, a rider is just an option that you can put onto the annuity. For instance, you may want an annuity that has a death benefit. Maybe that's your number one priority. So we'll put a rider with that allows a death benefit to step up more times, or a bigger roll up or something. And if you want income from an annuity, we'll use an income rider, because that will give you these step ups and then eventually guarantee you an income for life, no matter how long you live. Yeah.
Wow.
So it really is just an option on a life insurance or annuity product.
Got it. Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So here's a real life example of how this would work. One of my clients, Chris, retired back in 2007. We put $185,000 into a variable annuity with the lifetime income rider. The account value is now up to a little over $200,000, but her withdrawal base has stepped up 37 times and is now up to $259,000. So if Chris decides to retire and take income this year, she'd be receiving a little over $1,000 a month, guaranteed for the rest of her life. So I think that's a great example of how the variable annuity will supplement her Social Security and her pension income.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so I know you originally said that you start with this lump sum of money, either from a 401k or maybe an inheritance. And so is this a different option kind of how to take your 401k?
Yeah. And there again, one thing to keep in mind about variable annuities like this with an income rider, this isn't something that you're going to want to be taking money out of. So we might take a portion of your 401k, knowing that this money is going to be sitting there for 5 years plus and really can't be touched. So obviously we're not going to take the whole 401k, but often we can kind of back into, if we know how much more income you're going to need every month, we can kind of back in how much we need to put into the annuity to give you that income stream in 5 or 10 years when you need it.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And so why is this product always so either super like or super hate? Why is there this polarity here?
Yeah. Well, I think they're confusing and they're difficult to understand. And, these insurance companies are so creative. Everybody, is always looking for a new bell and whistle to put on an annuity. So it just makes it difficult even for an agent like me to keep up on all the products and the different variations that are out there. So I think they are confusing to explain and just difficult. And when people don't understand anything, they tend to say, oh, I just don't want it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And I think the other thing is too fees, Maggie. There are fees on these products, and we just talked about putting riders on them. Well, every rider has a little bit of a fee attached to it. So, the fees on a variable annuity with a couple of different riders could actually be up in the 3% range a year. Which, that is it's a substantial fee. But there again, you have to look at the benefits that you get from the product and make sure those are the benefits that you need.
Definitely. And that's why it's, great to have a professional who understands it is 3%, but you get these benefits, and that's, why it could be good for you versus, product or something else.
Right.
And that's why it is, everyone's so different. So we really have to understand for our scenario, what would be the best fit.
Exactly. One other thing to keep in mind too, on the benefit side, whatever money is left in the annuity, if you've been taking income from your annuity for 10, 15 years and you pass away, whatever money is left in the annuity passes as a death benefit to your beneficiary. So it's not like the minute you're gone, the rest of the money stays with the insurance company. It actually would be paid out to your beneficiary.
Oh, interesting. That's great to know, and great to know that money is going to continue to be passed down in your family.
Right. Exactly.
And so who would this be a great fit for? I know you said about 5 to 10 years out of pre-retirement.
Right.
Are there any other kind of qualifications that make you a good fit for this?
There again, I would say probably if you're in your, like we just said, early to mid 50s, looking at retirement in 10, 15 years. You have a lump sum of money that you can afford to tie up for a few years and not use it for something else. And definitely retirement income is your number one investment objective.
Yeah.
Which we all, that's the key to when you can retire. Do I have enough income to replace that salary or that compensation that I've been making in previous years?
Right.
Another thing too, I think, a lot of people don't fully retire anymore. You find people that kind of cut back on their business a little bit, or go part-time, or cut down on the number of clients that they see. This is another great place for an annuity. You might start taking Social Security when you're working part-time, and then when you're ready to completely retire, and then you turn the annuity on, and that income kicks in too, and now you fully replace the income you were making when you were working full-time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. And so when you have that annuity start paying out, is that always the same amount of lump sum every month, or can you ever change that, or get like take out a large lump sum for something, or how does that work?
Once the income stream starts, it's locked in.
Okay.
So that's something to keep in mind too, something, monthly amount that's going to be enough for you now, maybe 5 years from now, with 5 years worth of inflation, medical care costs have gone up and other expenses that we face. Typically, there's not going to be an inflation rider on that monthly payment. So you need to keep that in mind. Once the payments start, they're fixed for life.
Right. Okay. That's great to know, especially if someone was like considering taking a lump sum from there, that's not, a possibility.
Right. Now, I do have clients who have more than one annuity.
Okay.
And what we do is we can then turn them on as the need for income increases. So I have a client who has turned on 2 of her annuities already, and maybe in another couple of years we'll be turning the 3rd one on, just so we're constantly increasing that income that she's receiving every month.
Oh, wow. And so why would you do a couple annuities versus just one?
I think there again, because you can, I hate to use the word ladder, that isn't really appropriate, but because you can do different things with different annuities, turn them on at different times. One might be more dedicated to income. One might be more of an enriched death benefit.
Yeah.
So I think it just gives you more flexibility and more and different things to do with them.
Nice. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then you can kind of stagger and pull them differently.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And then I know, when we were kind of talking about this, these are typically kind of the most expensive annuities. But do you like that just because, or are these one of your favorites just because you can have that monthly income?
Yeah, because, there again, the clientele I work with is typically women who are going to be retiring. And we know retirement income is going to be an objective. There are other annuities out there that function in different ways and can be used for different, positioned in different ways in your portfolio. And we can certainly use those too, but this is my go-to for supplementing your retirement income, whether it's just Social Security, or maybe we've still got a few people out there that are still collecting pensions, which is really a nice alternative too.
Yeah, we see those slowly going away. So
yeah, definitely.
And so then my last kind of question for you is, where would you get this type of investment?
Well, like you said, it really helps to be working with an agent who is appointed with several different insurance companies who can go out and do the research for you and find, the ones that are going to fit your needs best. Because believe me, there are hundreds of them out there, and they are a little bit complicated. So I would suggest definitely getting in touch with somebody who's licensed and familiar with different annuity products and willing to sit down and work with you.
Awesome. So would that typically be like a certified financial professional, a CFP?
Yeah,
what kind of licensure is that?
Yeah, variable annuities are considered securities. So you
Okay.
have to have not only a life insurance license in a particular state, but you have to be, yes, a securities licensed professional, either a Series 6 or Series 7.
Awesome. Awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's always great to know where to get these resources. And I know that you work with them
Right.
all the time. So you're a
Mhm.
great resource for that as well.
Yeah. And a great place to check is the CFP website.
Yeah.
That'll list the financial professionals in your area, and you can kind of look at their bios and, pick out somebody who you think would be appropriate to work with.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Awesome. This has been a ton of great information. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you want to make sure is shared?
No, I think just letting people know that, annuities aren't necessarily the horrible things that maybe you have heard. And like I said, there again, sitting down with somebody who really knows and understands them and can explain to you how an annuity would actually benefit you in retirement. I think that
Right.
that probably would be the message I would want to leave with people is, check them out again. Don't just don't write them out of your investment plan.
Yeah, definitely bring them up to your professional or talk to Sandy about them just to see if that's the right fit for you and your situation. Because, like we say, everyone's different. Everyone's social security coming in is going to be different. And so, just, your planning and your goals, we want to make sure all those things are aligned. And so, it could be a great option for you, but just have that conversation with a professional.
Right, right.
Awesome. So Sandy's email has been going through the bottom. So you can always reach out to her. She's also one of our Purse Strings approved professionals. So you can reach out to her on our site, pursestrings.co. And we will be back here next week with one more lunch and learn about investing. But thank you again, Sandy, for coming on today and sharing your
Thank you.
expertise. And we'll talk to everyone soon. Awesome. Thank you. Bye.